class, welcome to Splash Studio Online. My name is Jessie. I'm going to be your artist for today. I'll be teaching you this painting here called Lupine Prairie. It's a very nice, warm, sunsetty painting. Got some flowers in there. I'll be showing you all the colors, all the techniques, all that stuff, so you guys can make this very own painting in your home. That being said, if you guys want to change anything about this painting, if you want to change any of the colors, any of the flowers, anything at all, feel free to do so. I want you guys to be happy with your painting, and the only way you do that is if you make it your own. So, that being said, you guys also have some supplies here that you should have gotten in your kit. Now, you should have gotten a roll of 5 different brushes here. So you've got your large flat brush, your medium flat brush, your medium round, and your little detail brush. And I'll be using all of those at different points in our painting, and I'll let you know which ones we're going to be using for each step. You've also got this nice little water cup. This should be full of water. This is a great place for your brushes to just kind of sit, a little home for them while you're not using them. It's make sure they don't dry out and all that. And it's also great for washing off your brushes once you want to change colors. And then lastly, we've got this nice little rag, great for drying off your brush once you have completed a color and, washed your brush and all that. And you should also have a palette, some paint on your palette. Mine is slightly used, but you guys should have some nice brand new palettes and paint, so you guys can do your, paints however you want. But, that being said, since this is a video, if at any time you want to pause the video, if you need a break to let things dry, or if you just, need to go do something real quick and then come back, you can always just pause the video, and then when you're ready to get started again, you can unpause it. So, to get started on this, we're going to start with the background that's kind of really nice, sunsetty color. So I am going to grab my largest flat brush, and I'm going to grab, I know this might seem weird, but we're going to grab some pure white paint here, just to make a stripe of white across where our horizon is. So this is kind of almost directly in the middle of the painting. Yeah, kind of in the middle. So I'm just going to put this, my white has a little bit of yellow in it, so you might be able to see it, but put some white right across your canvas like that. Bring it up a little bit. We're doing this just so the yellow that we put on top of it blends really nicely into that. So speaking of yellow, now we are going to grab some yellow mixed with white and put that on our canvas, kind of dragging it down across where that white is to blend it, and then going back up. So now that's nice and blended. Now I'm going to grab some more of that yellow. Just bring this color a bit further up. Grab some pure yellow this time, I should say, so it's a bit more of a saturated yellow. Again, I'll bring my strokes down to blend it into that lighter yellow, and then bring them back up to do the same. Here we go. We've got another little layer of yellow, and then our last, our last little layer is going to be more of like a golden kind of tone. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of orange, mix that in there. And I'll do the same thing, just spread this across our canvas. And then I'll bring this color down a little bit. Bring it back up to blend it nicely with the yellow. And then I'll add just a little bit more orange for the very top, just to get that nice and golden color we want. I think I want to bring that orange a little bit further down. This is just my preference. Feel free to do it however you want. But I'm just going to bring that orange a little bit farther down. There we go. There we go. Now I've got a nice gradual change from our white to our yellow to our golden color. Now I'll go in with those darker oranges and reds in just a little bit, but we're going to move down to the bottom half of our canvas and focus on the ground now. I am going to wash off my brush. And then I'm going to go in with just some pure yellow and bring this underneath where our horizon line is, just to make a nice little even line. Doesn't have to be straight because we all know landscapes aren't necessarily perfectly straight across. Sometimes they have little hills, little valleys, things like that. But I'm just bringing this color across my canvas, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Now that I've got that in there, I'm going to start to add a little bit of green, so I'll just grab a dab of blue and mix that with some yellow. So mostly yellow, a little bit of blue to get a lime green. And I'll just do the same thing I did with the sky. I'll just bring this across that yellow, blend it upwards by just doing repeated horizontal strokes to really blend it. Then I'll go down to blend those colors together. I've got some green in there. I'm going to add some more blue to my yellow to get a deeper green. Do the same thing. I'll spread this across my canvas. Bring it up a little bit. Maybe grab some yellow to blend them together a little bit more. Alright, for our last little bit on the bottom, I'm just going to grab quite a bit of blue here. So it's a nice, deep, kind of emerald green that I've got there on my canvas, or my palette. And then I'll just take this color and put it along the bottom of my canvas. And then blend it up with that lighter green, and then back down. There, now we have a nice gradual sunset into a nice gradual landscape. Now we just put a lot of paint on our canvas really quickly, so we do want to let this dry before going in with any further details. So I know we just started, but I'll have you guys go ahead and pause the video so you can let this dry, so it'll be nice and, you know, hardened and set in before we start to go in and add anything else. So 5-10 minute break, guys. Grab a beverage if you don't have one, makes it a lot easier. Then whenever you're ready to get started again, you just pause the video. Alrighty guys, once this is all dry, we're going to go in and do these little hills that are in the background. So I'm going to grab my small or medium round brush, the sky pointy tip, and I'm going to grab, to start I'm just going to grab some pure yellow, because these hills are just kind of really tapered. They're taller at the side, and then they just kind of have some little ups and downs, and they kind of go down towards the middle, and then there's an extra one here on this side, actually here. So you can see I've got one on the top, another one on the bottom, and then one to the far side. It's kind of hidden by the flowers, but it's still there. I'm going to go ahead and again grab yellow, and I'm just going to start off to the side and have some wavy line that goes down and meets the horizon. Some little bumps in there. Go. And then I'm going to add a little bit of orange on the top there. Kind of a sunsetty hill in the background, and then I'm just going to blend it in with that yellow. Grab some more yellow just to blend that in a little bit. Alright, there's my first hill. Then we'll do another one on the other side. So again, I'm just going to grab some pure yellow. And this one is kind of a little bit shorter. It's further off to this side, so I'll just bring this line back up. Do some lumpies. Fill that in with yellow. And then I'll add some orange on top. Then lastly, we'll just do that second hill that's in front. For this one, I'm going to grab, since it's already on that yellow part, I'm going to grab yellow with a little bit of white just so we can kind of build up that shape to begin with. The initial shape from my second hill there. You can't see it from far away, but so that lighter part on this side, you can see I've got that hill. And then I'm just going to go in with some more orange. And outline that hill so you can see it against that first one. Got our sets of hills in there. Right, and if your sky is dry, we can move on to the kind of cloudy, sunsetty colors there at the top in just a couple of minutes. So now we can move up into our sky again. And this time I'm going to grab my medium flat brush. We're going to go in with a kind of golden orange that's just a little bit darker than this kind of gold color we mixed. So I'm going to mix mostly yellow with some orange. Jeez. Got some green in my yellow. Hold on. So mostly yellow, a little bit of orange and white. Right. Now this is very impressionistic up here. I mean, this whole painting is pretty impressionistic, but up here it's just kind of a couple little streaks and really textured marks that kind of reach across the sky. They're more concentrated on either side in the corners, and they kind of lace together in the middle there. So to start here, I'm just going to grab a little more orange. I'm just going to create some of these shapes, and I'm using my brush in a really kind of random fashion. I'm just kind of moving it all over my canvas where I want this color to be. Really brushy, really sketchy strokes. Now I'm kind of fading off this color as I get down towards the horizon so it gets lighter. And the other side. Now that I've got that initial shade in there, you can see that it's really light. I'm going to go in and add the darker parts to it, so I'm just going to grab orange and red, mostly orange, a little bit of red, mix them together, and then go over the colors that we've just put down. I don't want to overlap them completely because I still want to see them, but we're just adding another layer of darkness to where I think the sky would be the most like reddish around the corners and inside these little cloud formations. Now if you feel like you put in too much of this dark color in there, you can always go back. So I am going to wash off my brush, grab some more of the yellow, and a little bit of that orange that we used, and some white. I'm just going to mix this together and go over those darker spots with this lighter orange. Get some more white and yellow in there. And kind of soften those edges with this. That looks good to me. Alright. So now that our sky is done, we can go down into our grass. Oop, my bad. We can go down into our grass in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty guys, so now that this is all dry, we've got our sky done, we've got our ground done, we're going to go in and do our blades of grass here, and you can see they're just kind of sticking straight up. They're like really tall prairie grass in different shades of green. So I'm going to grab my medium flat brush, and since these are really nice and pointy, I'm going to be using the tip of my brush. You can see it's got like that flat tip. I'll be just using it kind of like this instead of like this, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to start with a kind of even shade of green. So I'm going to get some yellow and I'm going to grab some blue. It's kind of a nice equal mix. I've got my green right here. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to make this spread nicer. And you can see that the blades of grass get taller along the sides right here. They kind of dip down a little bit so you can see a little bit of the horizon. Then they go all the way back up on the other side. So it's kind of like a little bowl shape, and then there's this one main one. But if you want to have a different format for your grass and flowers, go ahead. But I'm just going to start with that tallest one. I'm going to go from the bottom all the way up, and it goes past the horizon just a little bit down like that. So there's my first one. And then you can just go ahead and add some more beside it, but I'm going to make sure, for me at least, this is going to be my tallest one. And everything else around it is kind of secondary. But again, I'm using the thin part of my brush, kind of the edge of it, to create this nice pointed line for my grass. Once you've got a lot of these nice ones in here, you can just start going ahead and adding some more less nice pointed ones to just kind of fill in. The space around them. And some of them can be a bit more transparent if you don't press as hard. Some of them can be thicker, some of them can be thinner. You know, grass varies in its shapes, so feel free to play around with that. Just want to make sure that this space looks nice and full. We're going to be going in with a couple other colors as well, so don't worry if it looks like the same color as the ground. It's just a base for now. That looks good for my first color. Hold on, maybe not. Right, so that is our first layer of grass. You can see it kind of mimics the shape of our horizon line. It's kind of a little bit of a curved bowl shape. So now we're going to go in with a couple other shades. We're going to go little bit lighter, we're gonna go darker, we're gonna add some highlights, all that jazz in just a couple minutes. Alrighty guys, so next we're gonna add a lighter shade of grass, so I'm gonna use that same color that I had. I've got that blue and yellow mixture to make a green, and then I'm just gonna add some white to that. To get a bit of a lighter green, maybe add more yellow. Just so we have a nice sort of medium tone of green to add in here. We're gonna do the same thing. Have some strokes, and you can see them closer to the bottom now. So I will just make a couple blades of these. You can have them in between your darker blades of grass. You can have them on top. You can overlap them. You can do whatever you want just to kind of fill that space a little bit better. And add another little dimension of grass in there. Now that we've got that in there, we're going to go a little bit darker now. Kind of going back and forth just to create some layering of shadows and lights here. So I'm going to grab some more yellow and some more blue to get that mixture we had before. I'm doing mostly blue this time. I want it to be nice and dark. And then I'm also going to add a tiny bit of red just to get a darker, nice, almost kind of a purpley green, if that makes sense. Alright, so now I've got this really nice dark green right there. I might even add a little bit of black. I want it to be our shadow shade. And so I'm going to do the same thing here. Just add this in between some of our blades of grass. I don't want to add too much of it, because our shadow, I want it to be a little sparing. Just a few little pops of this color in there. Cool. And then lastly, we're going to add a little bit of a highlight. So I'm actually going to switch to my medium round brush. Get the nicer bit of a point on it so I can make some kind of thinner strokes. And we're going to take that kind of lighter green that we made right here, and then I'm just going to take some more white, add it to that. And now we've got a nice, really bright lime color. I'm just going to add this, again, a little bit sparingly, because I want it to be a nice light highlight, not too much in there. But I do like it to shine, so I might add a little bit more. But that's up to you. Right. And there is our grass. So we're going to take another short little break just to let this all dry before we go in with our flowers. So, pause the video 5-10 minutes, and then we will get back into it when you are ready. Alrighty guys, once this grass is all dry, we're going to go in and start making our little clumps of flowers. So I'm going to grab my medium round brush, and we're going to make kind of a medium purple color. So I'm going to grab some blue, and I'm going to grab some red, a little bit more blue than red, but nearly equal amounts there. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of white just to lighten it up a tad. Yeah, looks good to me. Okay, so I've got my purple right here. Now you can see that these flowers are kind of clumped into little don't really know what to call them, but they're in little clumps. They're taller and kind of thicker at the bottom and thinner at the top. So I'm going to start with this main one here. So I'm just going to dab this purple color on here. I'm kind of concentrating the color more in the center, be more solid, and then it'll kind of disperse around the edges. And you can kind of have it, it's like a conical shape. That's the word I was looking for, a conical shape. Sorry. Alright, so now that I've got this on there, I can start kind of dabbing this color, little specks around my main shape. I'm gonna fill it out a little bit. And again, these flowers don't have to really be attached to any specific blade of grass. You could just kind of have them floating here above our grass. And then I'll just continue to make some of these shapes. Again, this is my biggest one, so the rest of them are going to be smaller. You can also have some little specks of this color that aren't really attached to any flower in particular, that just kind of float around just to add a little bit of interest to our grass. But there are a lot of these in here, and you don't have to be in any particular kind of placement, so you can just decide how to place them yourselves, but I'll be kind of being going as close to the original as possible, so if you want to just follow along you can, or you can just make your own in this kind of fashion. And then I'm leaving about an inch or so at the bottom at least, so all the flowers kind of end right here. You've got some other different colored petals down there, but for the clumps of flowers, I'm just going to leave a little kind of inch or two of space at the bottom where they are not there. Alright, now that I've got my clumps of flowers in there, we can go ahead and start adding in some lighter shades, and from here on out it's going to be mostly just building up different shades with like lighter purples, lighter pinks, maybe some magentas here down at the bottom, and some shadows as well. First we're going to go in with just a little bit of a lighter purple than we have here, so I'm just going to grab a little scoop of white. And I'll probably need to make more of this, so I'll just make a bit more of this color first. Right. Now I've got a lighter purple. We're just going to do the same thing that we did with our first one. We're going to overlap this color onto our little clumps of flowers, but we want to make sure that we concentrate it towards the kind of top part of our flowers where the light will be hitting it, and then we'll leave some more of that dark purple showing down at the bottom. We want to make sure we don't cover it all up, because it's kind of supposed to add another level of dimensionality as opposed to just kind of covering all that hard work up. So I'm just going to dab this color on top of my flower clumps. Gives it a bit more of a texture because you can see those kind of both colors showing through. And this will also help kind of differentiate the clumps from one another, because I can see where the tops of them are, as opposed to just all being one color. There's some more variation now. And then I've got that second layer in there. You can kind of start to see getting a little bit of dimension to those clumps of flowers. Now, real quick, I'm just going to go back to a darker color, and I'm actually going to grab my detail brush for this. And I'm not going to touch that purple that I just made because I want to keep that for another color, but I'm going to go in, make a new purple that's more red tone. So I'm going to grab some red and some blue. And this time I'm going to grab more red than blue. So it's a bit darker, a bit more red. And we're just going to add this color towards the bottom. You can see that there's some more darker red tones at the bottoms of the clumps of our flowers, so we're just going to add this color in a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit at the bottom, so we can kind of just add another tone in there. Alright, now that I've got that darker purple tone in there, we'll go in and do some more highlights in just a couple of minutes. Now we're going to go in and do our other highlights that we have on our flowers. So I'm going to grab my medium round brush again. We're going to add another lighter purple, so I'm just going to grab some more white and add it into that purple that we had made before. A lighter purple. So now that I've got my even lighter purple in there, I'm going to go in and kind of do the same thing. I'm going to make these strokes a little bit smaller, little dabs of color, and again focusing them kind of towards the top, and then I'll have them kind of also focus towards the center here. So on this side, the highlights are going to be on the right side of the flowers, and then as we get towards this side, they're going to move to the left. Just so you can see kind of where the light is hitting the flowers. Just dab this color on there. And again, you can have some of this color that's kind of like along the out edges, a bit of stray petals if you want. And then they'll kind of die out as you get down towards the bottom. Alright, so now that we've got that color on there, we're going to go in with our last couple of highlights in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty guys, so we're going to go in with our last couple of highlights here, and I'm going to switch to my detail brush for this. So the first one you got is, you can see we've got a little bit of pink up here and down here as well. More magenta, but you get the idea. So I'm going to take some white and some red, just a little bit. You get a nice pink, light pink, right there. And we're going to kind of focus this away from where the light would be. So instead of having it on this side of the flower, it's going to be on this side. This is kind of just like a little reflection of light. I'm not adding too much of it, just a couple little blots here and there. Then we've got our pink in there. We're going to go down here for just a little bit. And we're going to add these tones of purple and pink in here. So I'm just going to add some more red to my pink to make it a darker red, maybe even a hint of blue to add some purple tone into it. So now I've got kind of a magenta color right there. And I'm just going to add this down here, some little clusters of petals that maybe are falling in that kind of inch or so that I had you guys leave on the bottom, just to fill in that space with something different. And then I'll add just a little bit more blue to get another shade in there. Alright guys, now the last color we have for our flowers is just pure white. I'm gonna wash off my brush. Having some pure white here. And we're just gonna kind of focus this again towards the top, towards the light on our flowers. And I'm gonna have smaller little bits of this. I'm gonna have some of them floating. It may take a while to do this, but I'm just gonna keep going along. You guys can go at your own pace. Alright, and there we have our little flower clusters. And then our last step is just going to be the bird, and we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty guys, our last step here is just going to be our bird. That's right smack dab in that sunset. You can see him just flying away there. So it looks like it's black, but it's actually not. We're going to have a little bit more color to it than that. So I'm going to get my detail brush, and I'm going to get mostly, actually you know what, equal parts blue and red here. It's going to be a really deep purple. There's my deep purple right in the center there. And to do this, it's kind of 3 parts. We've got one little swoop here for that wing, one little swoop there for that wing, and then a little kind of almond shape that connects them. So we'll start with the bigger swoop, his wing that's closest to us. It is just kind of an S curve. So it's kind of positioned right about here. So I'll just make a line like that. See, there's my line, and then I'm gonna just fix it up a little bit. Get thicker at the bottom a little bit, thinner at the top a little bit. There we go. And then his other swooshy wing just kind of goes that way a little bit more. So I'm gonna just make it a little bit away from his other wing, right about there. Have that line going that way. So there I've got his 2 wings, and then you just connect them with a little almond shape like that. And then he's got kind of a point at each end. One is for his beak, like that, and then the other one is for his tail. You have it. There's your bird, just like that. I kind of don't quite like the tip of his wing that's closest to us, so if you guys need to fix it up a little bit, you can go in with, I'm going to try to make that orange color that's in the background. So I'm going to use white, yellow, and orange. And hopefully this is all completely dry, but I'm just going to go in and kind of carve out a shape that I didn't like. Just get rid of any part that I want to go over. And then there's a bit of a darker orange over there as well, so I'll just pop this in there. And that just covers up the tip. So I wanted it to be a little bit straighter, so I'll just go back in real quick. There we go. A little surgery on that wing. But that's really all I have for you guys. It's a completed painting, but the last unofficial step is to go in and sign your painting. Now usually black or white works best, just for contrast's sake, but I'm going to go in with white. And in the bottom right hand corner, I'm just going to put my initials. So everyone knows this is my painting. Here's my initials. You guys did a really great job, I'm sure. I wish I could see them. You know, if you want to post them on Facebook or Instagram, tag us, Splash Studio. We'd love to see your guys' creations. I'm sure they're all totally unique, and that's what we love about art. That being said, that's all I have for you. So I hope you guys had fun. I sure did. And hope you're staying nice and healthy and safe out there. But that being said, I will see you guys later and hope to see you on the next one.